For weeks, even months now, the community has been waiting for EA and DICE to produce some kind of roadmap for the live service for Battlefield 5, called the Tides of War. We've all wanted to know what kind of content would be waiting for us in the era after a premium pass, and many people have been apprehensive about buying into the game before learning what we'd be seeing in the future. Well, today, for the first time, we have a proper roadmap of content coming to Battlefield 5 post-launch, and the blog post that comes with it covers the first 3 chapters of the Tides of War. Before we get any further into the details today, this video is sponsored by Nvidia. Now, the Battlefield 1 gameplay you can see in the background is at 4K, captured with their brand new GeForce RTX 2080 Ti graphics card, and you can see the frame rate in the top corner there. We're pushing anywhere from about 75 to 80 FPS all the way up to nearly 100 FPS, which is extremely impressive for a single graphics card. It really depends on what map you're playing in Battlefield 1. If you're playing Argonne Forest, there's chaos everywhere and the frame rate will be a little bit lower, but if you're on a map like Galicia, which is really open with a really wide skyscraper, not too much action happening in the same location all the time, you will get a slightly higher frame rate. A big thanks to Nvidia for coming on board and supporting the channel over the last couple of weeks. Right then, on to the hot news. DICE has just released a blog post detailing the first 4 or 5 months of Battlefield 5 post-launch support through their Tides of War live service. We've got detailed breakdowns of the first 3 chapters worth of content and events coming to the game, and some more general mentions of what to expect further in the future as well. So, let's dive into it. First of all, DICE reiterated their commitment to Battlefield 5 after the launch by setting some standards for their updates. We're going to see evolving gameplay, an expanding world, new experiences, and general game improvements. When it comes to gameplay, we're going to be getting new maps, weapons, vehicles, gadgets, combat roles, fortifications, and reinforcement options. That's quite a lot of stuff. All of that will come for free for every player of Battlefield 5. That's a massive change from the past. Of course, we know the premium model is completely gone, and Tides of War will be a free update system throughout the life of Battlefield 5 after launch. Now, the maps that get added to the game, they will likely be themed along with specific chapters, incorporating new locations and theatres of war in the future. Shortly after the launch, a brand new map called Firestorm will be added. This one is set in Belgium, and then will expand to Greece just later on as well. There's going to be plenty more maps to come in the future, but those are our first 2. When it comes to new experiences, Battlefield 5 will be adding another single-player mission, The Last Tiger, a co-op game mode called Combined Arms, which will be expanded on through future updates, the Firestorm Battle Royale game mode, new standard multiplayer game modes, and a practice range. That's right, DICE heard our feedback. A practice range is coming to Battlefield 5. And as for general game improvements, we can expect frequent updates addressing bugs and issues if and when they arise. Let's not kid ourselves, this is a Battlefield game. I'm sure we're going to see plenty of bugs. There will be some balance passes for vehicles and weapons, and some more quality of life improvements, like the addition of leaderboards at some point in the future, and even more. So that's all of the general information out of the way. We can now move on to the roadmap, post-launch support, and detail the first 3 chapters of the Tides of War. There's plenty to go through here, plenty to break down, so let's start digging into it. The first chapter will be called Overture. This will start in early December 2018, roughly 2 weeks after the launch of Battlefield 5, so things kick off very soon after launch. This chapter is sort of going to be the introduction to Tides of War. It's going to set the tone for future chapters, giving us a guideline of what we can expect over the course of the support life cycle of the game. First of all, the Firestorm map. This will focus on the German mechanized war machine charging across mainland Europe as it enters Belgium. It's going to be a tank-focused map, as the name might suggest, and you're going to be rolling across ditches, ridges, and elevated roads in a massive focus of armor, carving a path of destruction through the countryside. It'd be advisable to make sure you work on progressing your tanks in the first couple of weeks of Battlefield 5. This is going to be a very vehicle-heavy map indeed. Next, we're going to see the last Tiger War story added to the game in this chapter, and that's going to complete the single-player lineup for Battlefield 5. You'll follow the journey of a lone Tiger tank crew as they begin to question the ideology that got them to the point that they find themselves at. This is the war story told from a German army perspective, and I think this is going to intrigue a lot of players. Third item coming in Chapter 1 is the practice range. Battlefield 4 was the last Battlefield game to feature a testing ground of some kind, but we see it return here in Battlefield 5. You can use the practice range to practice, or you can just mess around in it if you want to. It's going to be set on the Hamada map, which is a standard multiplayer map, the biggest one shipping with Battlefield 5, and the environment can't kill you, so you're free to roam, experiment, test out whatever you like, and everything that is on offer to you on the map. I know a lot of players requested this feature for Battlefield 5 for the longest time, especially when there was no practice range or testing ground in Battlefield 1. Nothing was really confirmed or denied by the dev team up until this point, but now we know it's coming, and it's coming in the first chapter of the Tides of War. And this first chapter, Overture, will also bring a host of weekly events as well, handing out rewards to players who complete them. These events will focus on getting players to try all aspects of Battlefield 5's gameplay, as this is the first of many chapters to come. The events bring a series of challenges that let you earn Tides of War rewards and increase your overall chapter rank. Now, moving on from the first chapter onto the second one, this one is called Lightning Strikes. It's going to launch in late January 2019, roughly 6 or 7 weeks after Overture, and it's going to bring to life the fear created by the Nazi war machine with new content and challenges built up further around vehicle play. So the first major drop will be Combined Arms. This is the co-op mode for Battlefield 5. This had been mentioned quite a few times during marketing for the game, but eventually it was pushed back after the main launch. That upset quite a few people. Now we have a good idea of when it's going to emerge. Combined Arms will allow you and up to 3 friends to take on a series of combat strike missions across several maps against AI opponents. At the moment, we don't have any more information. This is in the second chapter, however, and isn't coming for, as I said, about 8 weeks after the launch of Battlefield 5, so I'm sure we'll get more information as we get past the launch, moving towards Chapter 2. At the moment, we're kind of just getting high-level features here. Lightning Strike also brings 2 game modes as part of the chapter of content, Rush and Squad Conquest. That's right, Rush returns to the Battlefield franchise after being removed from the launch lineup for the first time since Bad Company 1 when the game was introduced. Actually, Rush wasn't included in Hardline either, but Hardline was very much its own spin-off. There will be a slight twist, however. The game mode will only be available for a limited time, and the MCOM stations you're used to targeting and blowing up, they're going to be replaced with bombs. Time will tell to see if this is a good switch or not. Now, Squad Conquest, that's not specifically mentioned as a limited time game mode, but it supports 16 players, 2 teams of 8 split into squads of 4, and you fight for map domination. Now, how this mode is going to stand out from normal domination, I'm not quite sure right now, but it's another game mode for you to try out and will likely have some events surrounding it as well. Both of these game modes will likely highlight the vehicle focus of the chapter, and they might be adaptations of the vanilla setups to better highlight that vehicle presence. And Lightning Strikes will also offer weekly events and rewards, as the previous chapter, Overture, did. This part of the season will always be present, making sure every time you log in, there is something for you to do, but the events, missions, and rewards will be themed around each of the chapters. And now moving on to the third chapter, this one is called Trial by Fire. Can you guess what's coming? The Firestorm Battle Royale game mode will launch with this chapter in spring 2019. We know very little about Firestorm at the moment, but it brings Battle Royale to the Battlefield franchise with destruction, heavy vehicles, a massive map, and a moving ring of fire that closes in on you as the game progresses. The mode is a collaboration between DICE and Criterion Games, the team that helped produce the Starfighter Assault game mode for Star Wars Battlefront 2, and with this coming in spring 2019, the mode appears to be distancing itself from the recent launch of Blackout in the Call of Duty franchise. Hopefully, this will give Firestorm some room to breathe and help set itself apart from the rest of the Battle Royale modes that you can currently play. Trial by Fire is also going to extend the war to Greece, and it introduces a massive all-out war map set along the coast of the island of Crete. The Allied side is desperate to cling onto the island, which is under attack from Axis forces, attempting to break through the defences that are set up there. The map's going to highlight both aerial and ground vehicle gameplay, and it sets itself up as a power struggle location. I can't wait to see how DICE sets up the assault by air on this map. If there's multiple planes flying around, I think it's going to look really, really awesome. And just as the previous 2 chapters did, there will be themed events and rewards as part of the Tides of War progression system included in Trial by Fire. At the end of the blog, DICE said there is plenty more to come after these first 3 chapters, but it does set out an extremely healthy content drop over the first 4 or 5 months of Battlefield 5's life. We're getting 2 new maps, the Combined Arms co-op mode, the Firestorm game mode, 2 new multiplayer game modes, the practice range, tons of events and challenges that hand out rewards, and the usual weapons, gadgets and vehicles scattered throughout as well. The 2 maps being added appear to focus on vehicle combat, but I have no doubt they will support infantry gameplay as well, and getting 2 maps before the spring of 2019 actually puts Battlefield 5 ahead of Battlefield 1 during that same time frame, from launch until the spring of next year. Battlefield 1 only received 1 map during that time, Giant Shadow, that was in late 2016, and then nothing was added until March 2017 with the French DLC. And if you want to count the Firestorm map, you can say that that is 3 maps being added to Battlefield 5 in total. Overall, I'm really happy with the roadmap that DICE has laid out for the first 3 chapters of Battlefield 5's Tides of War. I think we've got plenty to look forward to. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Obviously, the Tides of War doesn't offer the same kind of structure that the premium model did for Battlefield 1, you know, 100% locking in content from the moment you bought into it, but with the Tides of War, you're not buying into anything. You're getting all of this content for free, so how do you guys feel overall? As I've said, let me know down in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications switched on, click that bell next to subscribe and make sure they are on, that way you won't miss any future videos on Battlefield 5, and a big thank you for watching today. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.